What's going on, y'all? It's J Smo Reviews here, back at it again with another video, man. Bringing you guys, as you can see, another Book'em episode, man. One of my longest running, frequent, and favorite series where we go over just the next best matchups for a specific battler, right? Try to keep them realistic, and number one being that battle that at least I would want for them next, but I think could be their actual next matchup. And this is also going to be another time where we're spinning the block and doing a second episode for a person. It's been quite a long time since I did the first episode for this particular battler, but I know it was supposed to be a Winter Madness video today. I know I said in the predictions it would be, but it's not, is what it is. But it is Winter Madness weekend, so I believe they'll be streaming. They have a pre-card today, Calico does. Some up-and-coming talent. I know Eunice is battling on there. So there's a couple talents. Hennyman's on there too. Shout out Hennyman. So that's going to be streaming right to their YouTube, Landslide TV. So check that out. I mean, there's free battles, free content. Then obviously tomorrow, Winter Madness. I'll be doing live updates on my Twitter as always if you want to follow in the description. And then expect, a recap here pretty much right after the event. You know what I'm saying? Just maybe an hour or two after. But this is my second Hitman Holla Book'em episode. And I have to say, while I was thinking about, kind of the way I wanted to go with the Winter Madness video, Hitman started popping out. He went back and forth with Twerk on the timeline. Eventually, Lux popped out. And we know they tend to talk really crazy to each other like they did earlier last year. We talked about battling, and then everyone was kind of talking about all these big Hitman matchups that are still out there for 2025, and how every time Hitman pops out, it feels like a success. And at least if you look at his last three battles, listen, he lost to Easy, did over 3 million views. Remy talking about how positive that event went, like profit-wise, just how big Easy and Hitman was as a battle. Then him versus Ill Will wins Battle of the Year last year, and then him versus Geechee is the Power Moves main event. I don't think it'll win Battle of the Year, but I think it's high up in those conversations, So people want to see Hitman in these Juggernaut matchups, even though he keeps getting betted against in every matchup, it feels like. But before we get into our new top 5 list, just want to go over what the first 5 looked like. And it was like a year and some change ago. I mean, the list is right here. I had New Jersey Twerk at number 1. We'll see if that's the same case today, but that's still a very sought-after matchup. Ill Will, which this is before the Ill Will battle, so it's been, quite a bit of time. Then obviously that one Battle of the Year is the reason I had it so high up. Geechee Gotti at 3, which, as we just saw, turned out to be a great one, although everyone knew that was a grudge match. We were simply just waiting on it to happen. And then A-Ward and Rum Nitty, which I'm not going to lie, neither of those made my list this time around, particularly the A-Ward matchup. I don't remember my exact mindset behind that one. I mean, shout out to A-Ward. I just think that they're pretty cool. Like, I've never actually, I don't know. I don't know what the thought process was behind that. And then Rum Nitty, who I don't think anyone would be mad at Hitman and Rum Nitty, but I think, they're just in different, they're so drastically different style-wise that until they kind of make it make sense by something happening, them talking a little bit more shit, I feel like it's just a puncher versus a performer. They're both high-ranked, but there's matchups that stylistically fit better, story-wise fit better, for a lot of different reasons. And so that's kind of the look at the first list. The 2 that did go down from that list obviously were fantastic, but now let's get into my new 5 next best matchups for Hitman. So kicking off the list at number 5, and for anyone that's seen this series, this is the spot where we'll take a chance. Maybe not everyone's going to get behind it, but it's a matchup I see the vision in, and that is Hitman Holla versus Swamp. Now, I think it might make a little more, I've said it for a while, and just purely off of rank, pretty much. People have always been like, what are you talking about? But first of all, Hitman sent a shot Swamp's way when he had the diss track he dropped versus Geechee, where it was like, he went to Geechee, Nitty, he might have talked about Lux, I don't remember, but it was like Chess, and he threw a shot at Swamp in there. And on top of that, Swamp has been performing great back to back versus Legends. I mean, from his Tay-Rock battle, which for me was when I said, okay, Swamp's top tier. I think this is the one that puts him there. And ever since then, he has the Arsenal battle. Maybe not a good look, but he smoked him. The Verb battle, smoked him. T-Rex battle, he won. I wouldn't say he smoked him, but he definitely won. And then he has the Calico battle tomorrow, so we'll see how that happens. And it just keeps going up, you know what I'm saying? And he keeps performing at that high of a level. So for me, the momentum, let's say if he was to beat Cal, and then who knows who he gets next. He wants Goods. I wouldn't be mad at that. I know him and Easy won't be next, but if he just is going to keep winning, you keep going up. And if the guys already called you out, I think it starts to make sense. Plus, I like the style matchup of Hitman versus Swamp. Neither of them are neither of them are like bar heavy battlers. Like, it's not like they're based on pens or they're based on punching, but neither of them get like enough credit for being pretty decent at it. Like, Hitman has adapted to this era, and don't say he hasn't. I know some people just see him keep having great battles and possibly winning most of these battles and keep ignoring it, but he's adapted enough of his style where it's still performance heavy, angle heavy, really just kind of talk to you heavy, but they can get there bar for bar a little bit. And then the other part, which is what I just said, is what I think makes it great. They're going to angle in a battle. They're really going to be tailored to kind of try to like talk directly to their opponent. I always talk about like life substance-based content, and they're going to bar in there. Plus, Swamp has showed the ability to be explosive on a big stage. I mean, it's not like it's a performer versus performer matchup where we're talking about we should have this because Swamp is so explosive, but he's had enough great big stage performances where I don't think you'd be unconfident in him in that type of situation either. So by no means is it a battle I even see in the cards for the next 2 or 3 battles for either of them, but if they just keep winning, or or at least for Swamp's sake, he keeps winning, and Hitman keeps having great grudge matches, juggernaut matches to give the culture, I could see maybe next year, maybe towards the end of next year, or maybe the year after that, Hitman and Swamp could be a good idea to throw out there, man. But then we'll go right to number 4. This one is a flat-out grudge match, and it is Hitman Holla versus Miss Hustle. This is Miss Hustle's pretty much dream battle. I mean, she's talked about it so much. She always mentions how she still wants to kill Hitman. They went back and forth so much, even disrespectfully. There's tons and tons of history here, and then on top of that, this is one of those, it's because of the performer that Hustle is, that you just want to see that amount of energy and performance, animation up there on the big stage. Now, I will say personally, I would like Swamp and Hitman a little bit more than I would like Hitman versus Miss Hustle. However, I'm giving credence to the realism, right? This is where we talk about the grudge, and it would just make more sense. I think you'd be more understanding if you saw Miss Hustle and Hitman book tomorrow, but if a flyer drop with Hitman and Swamp, I bet we'd all be pretty fucking shocked, right? So there's not much more to say on that. It's a matchup that I'd have Hitman winning as well, but you know what I'm saying? It's the best probably the ladies have to offer in terms of that particular style matchup. Who could beat Hitman? I think he'd just drown out pretty much any other woman on stage, even Jazz, as crazy as that might sound, but Hustle's got that kind of bark to fight back, and I think it would make for a great match. And getting right into the top 3, and listen, at the top 3, I feel like, especially when you talk about matches of this magnitude, Hitman battles, and the opponents we're about to mention, people are very passionate. There's someone that's going to think that what I have at number 3, 100% number 1, and that one of these top 2 sucks. You're just going to have to deal with it. But all 3 of these are like mega matches of the highest variety. And at number 3, I do have Hitman Holla versus Murda Mook, which for some people, this is actually the one that makes the most sense. And not too long ago, I was doing a video saying, yo, we need Hitman and Mook now, because it looked like it could have happened right then, right there. Like, it looked like that was going to be the big matchup, and it, like I said, mega-ist of mega matches. We're talking about 2 of the biggest stars to ever grace the sport, 2 of the best promoters and shit talkers when it comes to gracing the sport, 2 guys that get into their money talk bag a lot more than most battle rappers do, great pure rappers. There's so many kind of qualities in that not even borderline, like flat-out arrogance that Hitman, it really goes more into confidence, but obviously both of them possess an element of arrogance. You know what I'm saying? We've seen how Hitman and Mook talk, and there's so many reasons it's a great mega match, but we were so close to having it, and I do love the matchup of it. I think, like I said, there's great arguments for it to be at number 1, but knowing we were that close, and the way it's delved down, and the noise I'm hearing towards other matchups, and just me thinking some other matchups are more likely, that's the reason I'm going in the other direction. It's nothing to do with the matchup itself. I mean, what's bad about Hitman versus Murda Mook in any sense, in or out of the ring? It's something that can push the culture forward, but there's also a couple other battles that can do that too, and we've already seen Hitman and Mook kind of almost happen and then delve into madness and end up not happening at all, so purely for the realism aspect, and I think that situation needs to cool down for a second before they get back in negotiations. That's why I have it at number 3, but then you get into the top 2, and I'll just say right now, I mean, these are the guys that were just talking back and forth with Hitman yesterday, right? And on the last Bookem, I had this matchup that I have as runner-up at number 1, but I do have Hitman Holla versus New Jersey Twerk. It's the battle of performance to the highest of degrees, you know what I mean? This kind of, it wouldn't remind me exactly of it, because I think there was even more doubt on Hitman's name at the time, and obviously different in a few different ways, but Hitman versus K-Shine. Now, when that happened to SM6, that was a battle in the moment for the best performer of all time up until, you know what I'm saying, that moment. And I remember the doubt. I remember that I doubted Hitman going to that event. I was a much newer fan at the time, that 2 or 3 years, you know what I mean? I didn't know nothing yet. And to see what, like, not just the Hitman won, but really like clearly outperformed him in the battle of, like, people talk about bar for bar and Shine. It was close. I mean, bar for bar Shine was good, but it wasn't close. It was a battle of performers, and he got smoked in that category. He also got out angled along a couple other things, but that was like a monumental. I'll never forget. It's one of those battles that I'll never forget when I was watching it right there, the stream, everything. And I feel like Twerk vs. Hitman has so many of those same qualities where, because of consistency and legacy, you know, you can question how high you put Twerk up in the best performers of all time, because I also consider the career. What did you do with that skill set in there? But just off of like the pure explosiveness, Twerk is right there in the conversation. If someone, there's a very good argument that Twerk is also the most electric performer of all time in battle rap. It's electricity versus electricity, and who wouldn't want that? There's just so many good things to say about it. And then you look at power moves, Hitman and Geechee having battle of the night, but Twerk having the performance of the night and the body of the night, even the round of the night, in my opinion, on that card. So both of them just showing out crazy on the last card as well, and then immediately kind of, you know, getting, talking a little bit to each other. So it's a matchup that there's no negatives. Really, with none of these top three, in terms of like the actual battle itself, there's no negatives. It just comes down to preference. And if there's any list I could ever do like a 1A, 1B for, it would be this one. But obviously, I think that there's a very real chance that Twerk and Hitman could be the next matchup we get from Hitman. And special isn't even the word for it. But that leaves you with number one. And at number one, I do have Hitman Holla versus Loaded Lux. And what's funny is that stylistically, it couldn't be more different from what Twerk and Hitman's supposed to be. Twerk and Hitman is straight performer versus performer. And then we're going to see who can reach the higher highs, and, you know, with their other skill sets as well. But it's based on a similarity. Loaded Lux and Hitman Holla is based on difference. We're talking about someone that is the godfather of pens versus the godfather of performance. It's two completely different sides of battle rap, kind of meeting in that situation. But with that not having the similarities that Mook and Hitman has and Twerk and Hitman, why do I have it at number one? The way that they've talked to each other, the shit talk, and just the way they've sold it to me, and how bad Loaded Lux wants to battle. And he's not hiding about it at all. You know what I'm saying? He's like, yo, I want Hitman. Like, he's almost really chasing him to an extent. And how often do you see that type of motivation from somebody at that level, where they're like, no, I want him, and I'm going to be loud about it. Like, I'm coming after you. The way they've sold it to me puts it at number one for me. And that's why selling things is so important in battle rap. I can tell you right now, I've explained stylistically why the others probably make more sense, when you put the battle in motion. But Lux and Hitman is just a battle every time these guys spaces, interview, whatever. There's like a different type of fire with the way they talk about the matchup. And I think they both take it very personal in a competitive aspect. I don't know, because now with Lux, with these kind of watch parties and stuff, and I do love what Lux is doing in the media world. I think it's a little overblown, these like 15, 20 person watch parties that they have. However, I don't know if that makes it a little more personal, but even just from the competitive aspect, these guys are really motivated by that, and it's the best of two different worlds. It's a fantastic style clash, maybe one of the best we'll ever see, and it's why, for me, if I had to pick a next matchup, it would be very hard picking between Twerk and Lux, but I think right now Hitman versus Loaded Lux is the battle that I want next. And that is the full second bookum list here that we have for Hitman Holla. And just to end off the video, I'm going to throw both of the lists up right here and just talk about really some of the main differences I know, and there's really only one, and that's in this 2024 list. I just think there's more star quality equal type of battles here, right? Where you have like a Lux, a Mook. Obviously, Twerk is on both lists. And I thought on the first list, while, Twerk and Geechee, you would say, is also of that status as well. But Ill Will, Ward, even Nitty, although I'd rank him a little higher than both in this aspect. But there's still a sense of like giving a shot, right? Like Ill Will was Hitman's Hitman was Ill Will's end game battle. If Ward was, like I said, nowadays I'm not seeing the vision that I had then for the matchup. But if Ward was to battle Hitman, that would be, by far his biggest look up to that point. While with some of these matchups, you talk about really appear. Like, they almost have, a Lux and Mook, even though I would still say Hitman's the #1 draw. They're the only ones with that same type of fan base that could fight directly. Like, numbers-wise, we can have a little bit more of a conversation of kind of our boss status within battle rap. And then Twerk, like I said, was #1 on the last list, and it's kind of the same as Geechee, where one of the new age superstars to kind of compare to Hitman, which is what he's going to battle throughout the years, is battling just new superstar after new superstar. But on this list, you got a couple of the old stars there, so it's a little bit of like legacy versus legacy. So many things to like, and now I want to ask your guys' opinion. What do you want as Hitman's next matchup? If I had to guess, it would be between Lux, Mook, and Twerk for most people. So out of those three, you could even rank them if you want, but which one would you want out of those? And then, is there a matchup up here that nobody's mentioned? It's not necessarily the next battle, but just a matchup for Hitman that you want, right? Like, I don't have Nitty on this list. I'd still want Nitty versus Hitman, truth be told. But do you have a matchup like that most people don't think of, but you have a vision for and think could be a great battle that makes sense for Hitman Holla? But as always, man, appreciate y'all checking in on the content. Expect Winter Madness recap. That's going to be my next video. So probably late tomorrow, and at the very latest, early Monday morning, where, we're going to be in a new world where we're talking about everything that went on between Arsenal, Mook, Swamp versus Calico, all that. Go purchase your pay-per-views at RapGrid and support, a mega event that another battle rapper's throwing. But it's been J Smo Reviews again here, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to catch you on the next one, man. Peace.